Ah, Sonic 2. Made in America, of all things. Yeah, Sega of America had a lot of say in how things happened in the US for quite a while. This is why we know the bad guy is Dr. Robotnik and why Tails is more known as Tails instead of Miles Prower, a lame joke. Still, eventually Tails' name did become that. Yeah, Tails' real name is Miles Prower, and he is obsessed with mint candy. Meanwhile, like Tails, Dr. Eggman would have his real name become Ivo Robotnik, and Eggman as his nickname. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I played Sonic 2 many times, similar to Sonic 1, but I don't have as many memories of this one. Yeah, I remember parts of the game, but I don't have a clear place where I kept giving up for the longest time, unlike the last game with Labyrinth Zone. Then again, I find the game to be more challenging than the first one. That would only be the final area, though. Ah, here I am jumping ahead again, aren't I? Look, let's just say through the years I played this game plenty. Now let me rant for a bit. I've not only played this game, but a version with Knuckles as a playable character. Why isn't this included here? I'm playing the Steam version of this game for the record. The option to play as Knuckles should be pretty standard by now. It's not. See, back in the day, you could connect Sonic and Knuckles to other games. The point was to play the complete version of Sonic 3 called Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Yay! However, you could also connect this game to the original Sonic 2 and play as Knuckles in Sonic 2. Pretty self-explanatory now that I think about it. It wasn't the biggest deal ever since the game isn't really designed with him in mind, but still, it was there and it should be in most versions of the game. Sorry for ranting, but this is just dumb. I know the game was originally rushed, but do the ROMs have to be rushed to meet market too? No. Turns out they don't. Ugh. Sorry for ranting. I'd say let's get into it, shall we? Let's do it. Let's take on the Death Egg Robo! So, the story is basically the same as the first game. Oops. Dr. Eggman wants the Chaos Emeralds, now there's 7 of them, and he's kidnapping poor woodland critters for it. The main difference here is that Eggman has created his ultimate weapon, the Death Egg. A giant space station that would have someone looking for an exhaust port. Yeah, this time he needs all the Chaos Emeralds, not just 6, to power the massive Star Wars parody. Sonic cannot let that happen, naturally. The other new piece of writing would naturally be Miles Per Hour. A joke on Miles Per Hour, if you couldn't catch that. That ended up being nicknamed and mostly known by the mint candy-obsessed Tails. Yeah, that's about how deep this writing is. It's more or less a more involved version of the first game. However, Sonic really hasn't met its writing style fully yet. I'm more willing to cut it some slack because of this, as the next few games flush more story elements out, so there's that. Luckily, the game is charming as all hell. Some of the sprites are reused from the original Sonic game, but for the most part, most of the enemies look pretty different. It's mostly Sonic and a few things like springs that look the same. Tails is new, and all the Eggman boss fights use different sprites, which is cool. The final boss fight looks great, too, with a prototype of Metal Sonic of sorts, and the Death Egg Robo being a large Eggman mech. It's totally cool. The stages mostly share themes from the previous game, but better. The casino and water ruin levels look way better here, and sometimes these themes are more fleshed out, too. There are a few new ones, however, and that's because this game has more levels to boot. The Chemical Plant Zone and Oil Ocean Zone look incredible, and both are fairly iconic. Then the music. This is easily one of my favorite Sonic OSTs out there. Right up there with Sonic CD's Japanese OST. My favorite track is the Chemical Plant Zone. I don't know why, but personally, I love it. This game just simply looks and sounds amazing, with a few assets reused despite the time crunch needed to finish this game in a year. Not bad, Sega. Not bad. So naturally, with all this news, something had to take a bit of a hit. Not to say that the gameplay is bad, but it's mostly unchanged. Maybe a bit of polish here and there, nothing too big. Got one new move though. Welcome the Spin Dash, one of Sonic's most iconic moves in the history of, well, Sonic games. You duck and press the jump button, revving Sonic up like a drag racer. This blasts Sonic off as soon as it's released. If you need a quick burst of speed, this is an awesome move to have in a pinch, and you can run through most foes as well. The only other thing is dash pads. You touch it and you fly forward. That's about it. Oh, Tails is also playable, but when you're playing as him alone, he's basically just Sonic. Oh yeah, he does fly, but only when playing with Sonic and Tails. When that happens, Tails is immortal and will fly off if you killed him in a bottomless pit, or if Sonic just goes too fast. However, you only control Sonic. You can get a second player to control Tails, but the camera follows Sonic, which is why Tails can be left in the dust or get lost. All in all, no sense in fixing what isn't broken, I suppose. The moves added to Sonic work really well with what's already established, and Tails brings the little brother co-op to the table. Not too bad. So, level design was my biggest gripe in the original Sonic game. Does this game fix that issue? Oh well, of course it does. Look, the biggest drawback to the first game is lack of speed-based platforming. Momentum is the best thing about Sonic, so having half the levels draw that out, yeah, obviously the other half doesn't, and that's the problem. But that problem isn't actually present here. Most, if not all the levels, have more momentum-based platforming drawing out what Sonic is all about. Even with some of the themes reused, nothing is as slow as Marble Zone or Labyrinth Zone from the last game, which is awesome. The only real issue I have is the difficulty curve at Metropolis Zone. This zone alone is kind of cheap and brutal for young gamers. The enemies of the zone are infamous, hard to defeat, and have some notorious placements around the levels, making this area incredibly difficult. Outside of this level, the next couple of levels are challenging, but nothing like Metropolis Zone. The final boss is a bit tricky though too. I have no issues with challenging final fights, but the Prototype Metal Sonic and the Death Egg Robo, fairly tough opponents, mostly because you have no rings. Honestly, this fight probably wouldn't be as tough if you could take a hit or two, so I don't even mind that difficulty either. It's literally just Metropolis Zone. But with everything else being so damn good, does it really matter? That being said, even in Metropolis Zone, if you can get 50 rings and you happen to have all these little trinkets called the Chaos Emeralds, you can breeze past nearly anything. I mean, good luck getting 50 rings in Metropolis Zone, right? Regardless, this game not only introduces us to 7 instead of 6 Chaos Emeralds, it also introduces us to Super Sonic for the first time. Super Sonic is nearly invincible, fast, and while he doesn't lose rings when getting hit by enemies, he does eat through them gradually in this form. This is an excellent reward for collecting the Chaos Emeralds, or learning the proper cheat code. The previous game barely gave you anything for the colorful little gems. The way to collect these is different too. Instead of having 50 rings at the end of the level, you need 50 rings at a checkpoint instead. This makes getting a chance to collect the Chaos Emeralds much easier. However, the new special stages, the half pipes, are pretty tough this time around. I ended up using a cheat code to get Super Sonic this time around, so no shame. Props to anyone who doesn't need a cheat code though. Outside of that, there are plenty of hidden levels and rings and barriers in each level, normally having more in the upper pathways to reward players who are better for playing, and for rewarding general exploration. This makes exploration and replays very fun. Maybe you find a trove of rings to help collect another Chaos Emerald, or extra lives to help with the final battle. Awesome! And as a little excerpt here, while playing through this a couple of times, I actually kept ending up in different areas in Chemical Plant Zone. I didn't even know there were like multiple pathways in Chemical Plant Zone, at least not as many as I found, so it's actually really fun to explore, just saying. Overall, while not a perfect game, I would still say that Sonic 2 is a masterpiece. It is a much improved sequel in every way, with only a few lingering issues. One level and some repeat story elements, and that's about it. Yeah, that's the negative. The positives are huge, though. Gameplay is improved but unchanged from already near perfect example in the previous game. Almost all levels work with Sonic knowing exactly what people want are speed-based platforming, rather than the very generic platforming challenges that we had in the previous game. Story elements setting up how stories would be told in future Sonic games, for better or for worse. Music, the graphics rivaling the slightly more powerful SNES. This game is a straight 10 out of 10, with some smaller issues at worst. Again, a 10 out of 10 does not mean perfect. It simply meant that if you're going to like a 2D Sonic game, you'll probably know it with this game. Doesn't have to be your favorite game in the series, but this game is one, if not the peak, of Sonic's 2D career without a doubt. Try the game out. Who knows? If you're into speedrunning platformers, but somehow you've never played Sonic 2, give it a try. Also, if you played Sonic 1 and thought, it's okay, but never went past that, I implore you to do so. Just be really wary of Metropolis Zone. Just saying. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. If you liked the review, feel free to thumb it up, or if you disagree with my score, commenting helps too. Just saying. Subscribe and bell for more content. Remember, the next time I touch Sonic should be somewhat soon with a review of Sonic 2, the 8-bit version. Until next time, my minions, take care.